The massive arena floated in empty space like a giant crystal ball. Stars twinkled all around it. But inside the arena, thousands of alien creatures sat watching the fighting below. The crowd was restless tonight. They wanted blood. Commander Hannah pressed her claws against the metal railing of her viewing box. Her champion was losing badly. The huge Dractho warrior had 4 arms and skin like rock, but he was on his knees now, breathing hard. Standing over him was something small and pink that most aliens had never seen before. A human. The human's name was Miho. He was not very tall, and his skin looked soft compared to the armor-like hides of other species. But his eyes were different. They were cold and calm, like a hunter watching prey. "Get up, you fool." Hannah shouted at her champion. The Dractho tried to stand, but his legs shook. One of his 4 arms hung useless at his side. The crowd began to mutter. Many aliens had bet large amounts of money on the Dractho. These creatures could lift hover cars with their bare hands. Their bones were so thick that plasma guns barely hurt them. How was this small human winning? General Kira, Hannah's advisor, watched through a scanner device. "The human is not trying to break through the Dractho's skin," he said quietly. "He is hitting specific spots. Look at his target points." Hannah looked closer. The human had indeed been hitting the same places over and over. The joints where the Dractho's arms connected to his body, the back of his knees, the sides of his thick neck, places where even the toughest armor had small gaps. "Impossible," Hannah whispered. "No gladiator fights like this. They all use rage and strength." But Miho was not fighting with rage. When the Dractho charged at him with all 4 arms swinging, Miho simply stepped aside at the last second. The big creature crashed into the arena wall. When the Dractho tried to grab him, Miho slipped away like water. The human was patient. He waited for his chances. When the Dractho got tired from swinging his heavy arms, Miho struck quickly and then backed away again. He never stayed in one place long enough to get caught. In the crowd, other alien commanders were getting nervous. Ambassador Yuki of the Trading Federation turned to her guards. "Send word to our homeworld. Tell them we need more information about this human species." Prince Jaewon of the War Clans laughed, but it sounded forced. "One lucky fight does not make a warrior. The human will die in his next match." But even as he said this, Prince Jaewon was thinking about his own champions. Would they know how to fight something like this? Something that moved like a shadow and thought like computer? Down in the arena, the Dractho made one final desperate attack. He roared so loud that the arena walls shook. All 4 of his arms came down at once, trying to crush the small human beneath them. Miho was not there. He had rolled to the side and was already moving behind the big warrior. As the Dractho's arms hit the ground, Miho jumped onto his back. His hands found a nerve cluster at the base of the creature's thick neck. He pressed hard with his thumbs. The Dractho's roar became a whimper. His eyes rolled back, and he fell forward like a cut tree. The arena floor shook when he hit it. Silence filled the Colosseum. 10,000 aliens sat without making a sound. Many had never seen their greatest warriors lose to something so small. Miho stood over the fallen champion. He was breathing hard but not panicking. His clothes were torn and dirty, but he was not badly hurt. He looked up at the crowd with those same cold, calm eyes. "Medical team to the arena floor," announced the fight coordinator, his voice shaking slightly. "The Dractho champion is down." In her viewing box, Hannah felt something she had not experienced in many years. Fear, not fear of losing money or status, but a deeper fear, the fear that maybe her species was not as powerful as they thought. "General Kira," she said slowly, "send scouts to find out more about this human's home world." "You think there are more like him?" Kira asked. Hannah watched as Miho walked calmly toward the exit tunnel. The human did not celebrate his victory or show off to the crowd. He just walked away like he had finished a normal day's work. "I think," Hannah said quietly, "that we have been very lucky that only one human ship was captured." Around the arena, other alien leaders were having similar thoughts. If one human could defeat their strongest champions, what would happen if an entire army of humans arrived? The thought made their blood run cold. As Miho disappeared into the tunnel, the crowd finally began to talk again. But their conversations were different now. They were not talking about the next fight or placing new bets. They were talking about fear. 3 years ago, Miho had been excited to see the stars. Earth's first deep space mission was supposed to be peaceful exploration. He remembered standing in the command center of his small scout ship, watching alien suns grow larger on the screen. Everything was new and wonderful. Now he sat in a dark cell beneath the arena, counting the scars on his arms. Each scar told the story of a fight he never wanted. 47 battles. 47 creatures he had been forced to defeat or die. The cell door opened with a soft hiss. Dr. G entered carrying her medical bag. She was the only other human in this terrible place. The aliens had captured her science ship 6 months after taking Miho. She had been studying plant life on distant worlds. Now she patched up gladiators. "How do you feel?" she asked, sitting beside him on the metal bench. "Tired," Miho said. It was always the same answer. Jahi opened her bag and pulled out clean bandages. "The guards are talking about your next opponent. The Velcari are sending their champion." Miho nodded slowly. He had heard of the Velcari. They were the nightmare species that other aliens whispered about. Perfect hunters who could fade in and out of reality like ghosts. Their champion had never lost a fight. "Tell me about them," he said. Jai had spent months studying every gladiator species in secret. It helped her understand how to treat their injuries, but also helped Miho understand how to fight them. "They are faster than anything you have faced," she said, cleaning a cut on his shoulder. "Their claws can cut through steel. But the worst part is their phasing ability. They can become half solid, so your punches will go right through them. What else? They hunt for fun. Back on their homeworlds, they play games with their prey. They like to cause fear before they kill." Jai paused. "But Miho, they have never fought anything like you." Miho looked at her. "What do you mean?" "They are perfect predators, but they hunt animals and weak species. They have never faced something that hunts back." She finished bandaging his shoulder. "They do not understand the way humans do." This was true. Every alien species Miho had fought was either very strong or very fast or had special abilities, but they all fought the same way, with instinct and natural weapons. None of them had learned to think about fighting like humans did. Humans had spent thousands of years making war an art. They studied their enemies. They used tools and traps and clever tricks. Most importantly, they never gave up. "The Drakthal was stronger than me," Miho said quietly. "The Zephyrian was faster. The Crystal Warriors could not feel pain, but they all fought like animals." "And you fought like a soldier," Jai finished. Outside their cell, 2 alien guards were talking in low voices. They thought the humans could not understand their language, but Jai had learned enough to pick out important words. "They are scared," she whispered to Miho. "Some of the alien leaders want to know where Earth is located. Others want to kill you before you can teach other humans how to fight." Miho stood and walked to the small window. Through the thick glass, he could see the arena above. Tomorrow he would go up there again. Tomorrow he would face something that had never known defeat. "Do you ever think about home?" Jahi asked. "Every day." Miho touched the small metal tag around his neck. It had his name and rank from Earth's military. "I think about the mountains near my hometown. I think about my sister getting married next spring. I think about all the things I will never see. You might survive tomorrow." Miho turned back to her. "I have survived 47 fights, Jahi, but each one takes something from me. Each time I have to become more like them, more like a killer." This was the hardest part, not the pain or the fear of death, but the slow change happening inside him. He was becoming good at violence. Too good. Sometimes he caught himself thinking about the most efficient way to hurt someone, even when he was not fighting. "The other gladiators are afraid of you now," Jai said. "Even the guards step back when you walk past." "I know." Miho sat back down. "Before I came here, I had never killed anything bigger than a fish. Now I am something that makes monsters nervous." They sat in silence for a while. Above them, the arena crowd was cheering for other fights. Creatures were dying for entertainment, while Miho tried to remember what it felt like to be fully human. "There is something else," Jai said finally. "I heard the medical staff talking. The aliens who run this place are getting rich from betting on you. But some species are starting to refuse to send champions. They do not want their best warriors to face you." Miho almost smiled at this. Good. Maybe this will end soon. But even as he said it, he knew it was not true. Tomorrow the Velcari champion would come. And whether Miho won or lost, more challenges would follow. The galaxy had noticed humans now, and that attention would bring both opportunity and danger. In the darkness of his cell, Miho closed his eyes and tried to remember what peace felt like. The morning of the fight, something changed in the arena. The usual excited chatter of the crowd became nervous whispers. Even the guards moved differently, looking over their shoulders as if something dangerous was hunting them. The Velcari had arrived. Miho felt it before he saw them. The air itself seemed colder. Small animals that lived in the arena walls had gone silent. It was like the feeling before a terrible storm, when even the birds stopped singing. From his cell window, he watched their ships dock with the Colosseum. The vessels were black and seemed to bend light around them. No clean lines or bright colors like other alien ships. These looked like they were made from shadows. "They are here," Jai said, joining him at the window. Her voice was barely a whisper. The first Velcari to emerge from the ships moved like liquid smoke. They did not walk so much as flow across the docking platform. Their bodies shifted between solid and transparent, making it hard to look directly at them. Prince Hyunjin was easy to spot even among his own kind. He was larger than the others, and when he moved, reality seemed to ripple around him like water. His eyes glowed with a cold yellow light that made Miho think of winter nights and death. 17 worlds, Jai said. That is how many star systems they have conquered, not through technology or armies, but by hunting. They turn entire populations into prey. Miho watched Prince Hyunjin enter the main Colosseum. The alien crowds that had been loud and excited all morning fell completely silent when the Velcari prince walked past. Even the strongest warrior species stepped back and lowered their eyes. "And their champion?" Miho asked. "Taewon. He has fought in 300 matches across the galaxy. Never lost. Never even been seriously injured." Jai pulled out a small data pad she had stolen from the medical bay. "Look at this." The screen showed fight recordings of Taewon in action. Miho watched as the Velcari champion faced opponents twice his size. The creature moved faster than the eye could follow. One moment he was solid. The next he was like mist. His claws could cut through armor like paper. But what disturbed Miho most was the way Taewon fought. He did not just defeat his opponents. He played with them first. He would let them think they had a chance, then strike just enough to cause pain without killing. The fear in his victim's eyes seemed to feed him. "He enjoys it," Miho said quietly. "All Velcari do. They believe fear makes the meat taste better." Hours later, the arena was more crowded than Miho had ever seen it. Representatives from dozens of worlds had come to watch. Everyone wanted to see if the human could survive against a true apex predator. In the preparation room, Miho stretched his muscles and checked the simple cloth wrappings on his hands. No weapons were allowed, not that it mattered. The Velcari champion would not need weapons either. Dr. Jai was not allowed in the preparation room, but she had managed to slip him a small note. It contained everything she had learned about Velcari anatomy. Weak points were few, but they existed. The arena doors opened, and Miho walked into the light. The crowd's reaction was different this time. Instead of excited cheering, there was a tense silence. Everyone was waiting to see something they had never witnessed before, a Velcari defeat, or a human death. Across the arena, another door opened. Taewon emerged like a nightmare-given form. He was tall and lean, with skin that looked like black leather. His hands ended in claws that gleamed like metal. But the most unsettling thing was his movement. He seemed to glide rather than walk, and his form flickered between solid and transparent. The fight coordinator's voice echoed through the arena. "Champions, prepare for combat." Taewon tilted his head and studied Miho with those glowing yellow eyes. When he spoke, his voice was like wind through dead leaves. "So small," he said in the common galactic language. So soft. I will make this last a long time, little prey. Miho said nothing. He had learned not to waste energy on words before a fight. Instead, he studied the arena itself, the gravity generators in the corners, the broken pieces of metal scattered from previous battles, the viewing platforms that hung over the fighting space. Everything was a potential weapon if you knew how to use it. The starting bell rang. Taewon moved first, becoming a blur of shadow and claws. But when he reached the spot where Miho had been standing, the human was no longer there. Miho had rolled to the side and was already running toward the arena wall. Running already? Taewon laughed, the sound echoing strangely. Good. Fear makes the hunt more interesting. But Miho was not running away. He was positioning himself. As Taewon gave chase, Miho grabbed a piece of broken metal from the ground and kept moving. The arena was round, with obstacles and hazards placed throughout. If used correctly, these could level the playing field. Taewon phased through a barrier that Miho had to climb over, gaining ground quickly. His claws raked the air just inches from Miho's back. In the crowd, Prince Hyunjin leaned forward with interest. This human was faster than expected, but speed alone would not be enough. The real fight was just beginning. 20 minutes into the fight, Taewon felt something he had never experienced in 300 battles. His claws, which had never missed their target, swept through empty air again. The small human had somehow predicted exactly where he would appear after phasing. Impossible, Taewon hissed, his yellow eyes narrowing. Miho stood 15 feet away, breathing hard but still moving. In his hands was a weapon he had built from arena debris, a long piece of metal with sharp edges, weighted perfectly for throwing. But more disturbing than the improvised weapon were the human's eyes. They showed no fear, no panic, no desperation. They showed patience. Taewon had faced thousands of opponents across the galaxy. They all reacted the same way when they realized they were outmatched. First came disbelief, then fear, then the wild attacks of creatures who knew they were about to die. But this human was different. 20 minutes of combat, and his movements were still controlled and purposeful. You cannot run forever, little prey, Taewon said, but his voice carried less confidence than before. Miho did not respond. Instead, he moved toward one of the arena's gravity manipulation devices. These machines were meant to add difficulty to fights, creating areas where combatants might suddenly become lighter or heavier. Most gladiators avoided them. Miho ran straight toward one. Taewon followed, phasing in and out of reality to gain speed. But as he materialized for an attack, the gravity field activated. Instead of the human, Taewon found himself suddenly weighing 3 times normal. His perfect attack became a clumsy stumble. Miho was behind him now, that improvised spear aimed at the base of Taewon's neck. The Valkyrie spun and phased just in time, but the weapon still caught his shoulder, drawing black blood. In the royal viewing box, Prince Hyunjin stood slowly. In 3 centuries of watching Taewon fight, he had never seen his champion bleed in the first hour of combat. Impossible, General Nari whispered beside him. No prey species fights like this. But that was the problem with their thinking. They kept calling Miho prey, but everything about his behavior said predator. Real predators did not fight with rage or desperation. They fought with patience, intelligence, and perfect timing. Back in the arena, Taewon was beginning to understand this as well. Each time he used his superior speed and phasing ability, the human seemed ready for it. Every attack was countered. Every advantage turned into a trap. The human was hunting him. This realization sent a chill through Taewon's body that had nothing to do with the arena's temperature. The Valkyrie were apex predators. They had conquered 17 worlds because nothing in the galaxy could hunt them back. Until now, Miho moved again, this time toward a section of the arena where previous battles had left deep gouges in the floor. Taewon followed, but more cautiously now. When he phased to attack, Miho was ready with another improvised trap. Loose debris positioned to fall when disturbed, creating a barrier that forced Taewon to materialize in a specific spot, where Miho was waiting. The human's fist connected with Taewon's ribs just as he became solid. The Valkyrie had been hit harder before, but never by something that knew exactly when and where he would appear. How? Taewon gasped, stumbling backward. For the first time, Miho spoke. You fight the same way every time. You think being stronger and faster is enough. The words were simple, but they carried a terrible truth. Taewon realized that while he had been trying to impress the crowd with his superior abilities, the human had been studying him, learning his patterns, turning his own instinct against him. In the crowd, other alien champions were starting to understand what they were witnessing. The human was not just surviving. He was systematically breaking down a perfect predator through pure tactical thinking. Taewon attacked again, this time with real desperation. His claws extended to their full length, and he moved faster than he ever had before. But speed without strategy was just waste motion, and Miho demonstrated this by simply stepping aside at the last possible moment. Taewon's claws buried themselves in the arena wall, and for a crucial second, he was stuck. Miho struck the back of his neck with that improvised weapon, right where Jai's stolen medical data had shown a nerve cluster. Taewon's legs went weak, and he fell to one knee. The arena went completely silent. In the royal box, Prince Hyunjin felt something that no Valkyrie had experienced in their species' recorded history. He felt afraid of something smaller than himself. "This is not possible," General Nari said, but her voice shook. Prince Hyunjin watched as his perfect champion struggled to stand. But worse than Taewon's physical condition was what the prince could see in his eyes. Taewon was no longer looking at the human like prey. He was looking at him like death itself. "Send word to the homeworlds," Prince Hyunjin said quietly. "Tell them we need to know everything about this human species." "My prince." "Tell them," Hyunjin said, never taking his eyes off the arena, "that we may have found something that can hunt us." Down below, Miho circled the wounded Valkyrie champion. Patient as always, the greatest predators in the galaxy were learning what it meant to be prey. Taewon fell with a sound that echoed through the silent Colosseum like breaking glass. The High Stalker was not dead, but something worse had happened to him. The light in his yellow eyes had dimmed, and when he looked up at Miho, it was with something no Valkyrie had ever shown another species. Respect born of fear. Miho stood over the fallen champion, his chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. His improvised weapon dripped with black Valkyrie blood, but his eyes remained as cold and calm as they had been at the start. He had not celebrated his victory or shown off to the crowd. He simply waited. The silence stretched on for what felt like hours. 10,000 aliens from across the galaxy sat without making a sound. Many had come expecting to see the human finally defeated by a true apex predator. Instead, they had witnessed something that would haunt their nightmares. Prince Hyunjin was the first to move. The Valkyrie ruler descended from his viewing box with slow, careful steps. His usual flowing movement was gone, replaced by the cautious approach of something that suddenly realized it might not be at the top of the food chain. "Human!" Prince Hyunjin called out when he reached the arena floor. His voice carried none of its earlier arrogance. "Your species. Where do they come from?" Miho looked at him but said nothing. The silence was more terrifying than any threat could have been. Somewhere in the darkness of space, there was an entire world full of creatures like this one. "Answer me," Prince Hyunjin demanded, but his voice cracked slightly. Still, Miho remained silent. He dropped his weapon and walked toward the exit tunnel, leaving the broken Valkyrie champion behind. The crowd parted before him like water, even the strongest warrior species stepping aside. Within hours, the news had spread across the galaxy. Emergency sessions were called on dozens of worlds. The species that had terrorized entire star systems for millennia had been humbled by something they had considered insignificant. Deep in the Colosseum's medical bay, Dr. Jahi worked on Miho's injuries. The cuts were not deep, but his knuckles were swollen and his shoulders showed claw marks. "They are offering you freedom," she whispered as she cleaned his wounds. "The Galactic Council wants to meet with you. They think you could train their forces." Miho winced as she applied healing gel to a particularly deep scratch. "And the others? The crystalline hegemony has put a price on your head. Enough money to buy entire star systems. They want you dead before other humans can learn what you know." This did not surprise Miho. He had expected this moment since his first victory months ago. Every alien power would either want to use him or destroy him. There would be no peaceful retirement after what he had accomplished. Some species are already pulling their fleets back to their home worlds. Jai continued, "They're afraid that Earth might send warships to find you." Miho looked up at her. "Are they?" Jai smiled sadly. "How would I know? But I hope so. I hope they never stop looking for us." Outside the medical bay, alien guards spoke in hushed tones. Many were requesting transfers to other duties. None of them wanted to be responsible for watching the human who had defeated a Velcari champion. Commander Hannah of the Crystalline Hegemony paced in her private chambers, studying star charts and fleet reports. 3 years ago, capturing a human scout ship had seemed like a minor prize. Now it felt like they had awakened something terrible. "Send more scouts to the outer systems," she ordered her aide. "Find this Earth before they find us." But even as she gave the order, Hannah suspected it was already too late. If humans were anything like their representative in the arena, they would not give up searching for their lost people. Prince Hyunjin faced a similar problem. The Velcari had built their empire on the fear they inspired in other species. But how could they maintain that fear when everyone had seen their greatest champion broken by a single human? "We should strike first," General Nari suggested. "Find their world and destroy it before they can send armies." "With what?" Prince Hyunjin replied bitterly. "If one human can defeat Taewon, what would happen if we faced thousands of them?" Back in the medical bay, Jai finished treating Miho's wounds. Through the small window, they could see ships departing the Colosseum at an unusual rate. The news was spreading, and every species was returning home to prepare for an uncertain future. "Do you think they will come for us?" Jahi asked. Miho touched the small metal tag around his neck. His identification from Earth's military. They never leave people behind. That is what makes us different from them. Neither human noticed the small, sleek ships approaching from the outer system. The vessels were painted with symbols that would have filled their hearts with hope. The insignia of Earth's Deep Space Command. Captain Cian studied the sensor readings from her command chair. 3 years of searching, following faint signals and alien trade routes, had finally led her fleet to this place. Her orders were simple: find the missing scout ship and bring everyone home. She had no idea that one of those missing people had already begun changing how the galaxy viewed humanity. The rescue mission she thought she was leading had become something much larger. First contact between humans and the galactic community was about to begin, and it would not be the peaceful meeting Earth's leaders had planned.